what I was going to pivot to is what I did learn. And this, like, it's easy for us to want things when we want it. And then I learned one thing I learned in my last relationship, right? I really learned that I have a vision of how I want my family to be, right? To the point where it's like, I stop at nothing to have that family. But I really, like, I took on way too much too fast. And most men won't say that, right? Because we men, right? But it's like, for me, it wasn't like I didn't handle it or I couldn't handle it. It was looking at the strain that it caused on me to be able to do so, which made me realize, okay, I'm not rushing this process. Like, I know what I want. The goal is the goal. The result is the result. I'm always going to go in the direction that I want to go in. But as opposed to me, it's one thing to walk 2 miles by yourself. And when you get there, you know, like, all right, I just walked 2 miles. Another thing to walk 2 miles with a 500-pound weight, you know, or pushing a car. That 2 miles look a little different. So I say that to say, as men, man, I always say, like, we get mad because women don't give us slack, right? And when I say this, right, I want you to understand, it's like, you could give yourself slack before involving them, because women and children is never going to give you slack. They don't have to be as understanding as we want them to be. Like, we want them to understand what it takes to be us, right? And the fact of the matter is they can't. So then it makes us frustrated to say, well, you know, I had this going on. But it's like, no, you said you was going. And so for me as a man, and I've been working on that for years, starting with my children, like, you know what, I'm not going to say I'm going to do something that I'm not going to be able to do unless I know I could do it. And if life happens, my explanation is my explanation. I'm not mad at life happening. I'm not going to feel like, you don't have to understand. That become my end all be all. Like, you know what, I don't expect my kids to understand if I say not right now. I don't expect my woman to understand if I say not right now. I understand, but I also don't go into it knowing that not right now is the first option. Right? It's like, all right, cool. You know what? Let me get myself together right now so that not right now is the last option and not the first option. Whereas though we know, we say, oh, well, what about when you want to build with a woman? It's like, you can build, but you still have to get yourself to a certain level of then being able to build with more weight on it. Like, you can't build a foundation on one leg. Right now, if you're the only pillar and you try to bring on another one, it's not going to be sustainable, no stability. But if you get yourself stable enough, when you bring on that extra sense of pressure that a woman going to bring, whether intentionally or unintentionally, you can handle it, because you should already have your own car. You should already have your own apartment. Your credit should be our house. Your credit should look a certain way. It don't mean you got to go buy a house. It just means that these foundational things that you need to be able to thrive in manhood as an individual should be in order before you bring on a woman, because now everything she asking for is just extra. It's like, all right, cool. Like, this stuff is underway, but if you try to build in that process and you still figuring it out, this is why they're not going to trust the guy. This is why they're not going to trust the leadership, because in turn, they feel like you don't know where you're going. And because, you know, women, y'all want to steer the ship sometimes. It's just the truth. It is what it is. I got to bring it. No, for real. It's like, it's a need to know, right? It's a sense of control. They want to be in control of things that involve them. Sometimes even things that don't involve them, but mainly in things that involve them. So if you involve them in your journey and you know that they're going to want to know this and want to know that, and you don't have the answers prepared, or you just feel like you don't want to discuss that, then get all of those things in alignment so that it becomes clear. You walking into a situation, that's the way it is, so you'll have no reason to question me, because you see what it is. Is that a couch? Yes, it's a couch. Like, it's common sense, but, oh, what you going to put in that space right there? That's only a question because there's nothing there. And they already got an idea, well, it ain't nothing occupying that space, so let me give my suggestion. Maybe he don't know that a couch would be nice right there. So now I'm offended because you make a suggestion that I didn't ask. I already know I was putting the desk right there, but the desk's not there. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to wait. I'm going to get the desk first, and then you're going to come in and you're going to see a desk, and maybe you can say, you should have put a plan on that desk. All right, cool, decorate the desk. But what I don't need is giving you an empty space for you to tell me what you see, and now we at odds because I wasn't prepared for what I brought you into.
Well, you had a few things to say, Mus?
To both of y'all point, it's no shortcut to greatness.
She held that point. That's good.
Good.
And then you said something. You spoke about
Being
burnout, qualified. Oh, the season in which you were speaking that you were in, humility came to me, because it's like there will be times in our life where we think we have it all figured out, and then we'll get chin checked and be like, wait a minute, let me go sit back down, because I might have did a little too much. I might have took that one a little too far.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, and I think just going into this year and just in general, if people just humbled themselves a little bit more, we would be able to, I guess, try to navigate through situations, and the way we show up would be different. So that humility piece, and I'm sure that's what you learned in that season.
Absolutely,
like,
yeah.
It changed you and probably how you approach stuff go forward.
Absolutely. I never forget, at the time I was like, this job had fell through, whatever, some bullshit happened, and I was like, nothing. I'm gonna get a new job. This is easy money. I got this shit figured out.
All right, Q, I got a confession. Yeah, offer letter got held up because I called your supervisor. I said he not ready.
He not ready for this, Lord. He not ready. Well, fucking well.
I said he not ready. I work with him. You know what I mean? I've been evaluating his performance. This is his 4th job in 3 months.
Yeah, I get a vibe.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised.
And I said I need him for my company. So.
But yeah, so I'm like, it's easy, man. I'm about to get a new job, this and that. And then 6 months pass. And then 6 months pass, you know, all that, you know, profitable savings and stocks that I put up over that time, stacked up, whatever, all that shit was done. Like, doing to do just to survive, sustain everything, whatever, you know, just had a newborn baby. So all that shit was, I was like, damn, all that shit I kind of accumulated just done now from the previous season to this current season. And then even the next job, it was less money than I originally had. But at that point, I was like, I can't afford to deny this one now. And then, right.
Then he's back at Wendy's.
Yeah. But what it taught me ultimately at that point, I was like, you know what? Cool, it is what it is. I'm not going to stop going for what I need at this point. I need this to sustain for the next season, whatever. This is needed for this current season, but I mean, I'm about to keep it for remaining seasons or whatever. So, you know, it culminates to the next thing. And then, you know, when I, so it all was lessons for sure. Yeah, for sure.
No, that's good. And it's like, the things that we try to hold on to typically are the first to go.
100%.
Because we didn't spend all this time like, oh, I have this over here. I have back to our plan thing. I have this over here. This is so great. Yay. And then as soon as the Lord like, oh no, but this is what's truly what I have for you. They be like, that thing you was protecting. Yeah, let me get that right up off you real quick.
For sure.
Yeah, that's real.
So.
That's why I really learned how to detach my things from things. Like to detach myself from things. And it's to your point, like the things that we really try to hold on to, that's when I know I need to let go. Like I'm so self-aware now that when I catch myself trying to control the outcome or I literally say, you know what? I gotta let go. Like down to like, you know, like, so we was naming all of my apartments that I was applying for. We was naming them after cars. You know how bad I wanted that Porsche. I showed my daughter the Porsche yesterday and she was like, and that you know, nice. I understand why you were trying. I like, but kids to your point,
cars upgrades. Well, like my daughter's still stuck on old cars.
She like, because you know, like it got 20-foot ceilings. I had so many ideas I had, like, and she just like, I'm like, content will go crazy. And she like, yeah, like I'm like, she understood, but to pivot away from the kids is like, that's when I knew. I'm like, yo, you know what? Because the spot that I ended up even going with was not even on my radar. Literally, I'm gonna give you a brief story of how this shit worked. Had a meeting with this was an impromptu meeting. This was we on the phone. We didn't have multiple phone calls. Let's do something formal. Let's meet up. Where we meet is lofts and apartments. I might just look while we here or whatever. She just say, oh, you know, you should go down the street and look at such and such. I'm like, is it what it look like? So it's very modern, woo. I never heard of it, never thought about it. And first time I'm meeting this person in person ever. Do you know that ended up being a spot? Like I went down there, seen, they didn't even have a tour available for me. So I got 10 minutes before my next tour come in. Let me just show you something real quick. Show me. I'm looking, I'm like, I don't like this layout. I told you, I don't like this layout. I'm still hung on a Porsche. I'm like, show me the bigger one. F that. She's like, yeah, but this one is $3,000 a month. I'm like, we talk about it. I'm like, you're like, I don't know if you should do that. I'm like, all right, you know what? It's way cheaper, well, considerably. It's a little cheaper, and it's the same. And it's like, you know what? I go for it, and this ended up being the one. And it was like, it wasn't the one. That's what'd be so funny, because it'd be like, God give you what you're supposed to have, and it's like, it really don't be off. You never settling, right? You never settling with what he give you. It just never be what you thought you wanted. It'd be like, I didn't want this. Like I never woke up today and said this was it, right? Yeah. And then when you get it, you like, it make all the sense in the world. Like everything after, because when we talk about clarity and foresight, when you have those limbo periods, it literally does this. It puts a blinder in front of your ability to see down the road. So the moment that you get in alignment and you say, okay, let me let go of trying to control this. Let me stop trying to protect it. Let me stop trying to have my vision set on this and say, let the goal be the goal. Let the outcome be the outcome. But let me not determine. I determine my input, but I can't determine God's input, right? Can't determine his timeline. So let me let go of all of that. Let me let it be. And then when you see it, then the shades get open and you can see clearly. So now the space started to fill itself. Whereas though the other space I'm trying to manufacture, you think I should make this the bedroom, or you think I should put this here. With this, it was like, it's very clear that this is what it is. This is what this is. This. And that's what it come down to, just being able to say. And even for anybody that's out there watching, man, I know it's like, I understand that need to know, that desire to want to be in control because you feel like this is my life, right? But in reality, it's like being able to say, yo, you know what? I want what's best for me but I also more so want what God see that's best for me, because what's best for me might not be in alignment with what God sees as best for me, and it might just be due to my limited perspective of what I think is best. I didn't know that option existed. That's the part. I didn't know. I looked on the apartments app. I looked on Zillow. I never found it. I met with somebody that I never would have really met with about a business that is going to happen, but it wasn't even something that I woke up that day saying, I want to have a discussion about this. And that one bit of me just going out on faith saying, let me sit with this person, was the piece that got me housing. Because technically, if you somewhere you don't have a place to stay, what do you consider?
Homeless.
Yeah, you're homeless. So here I am in another state without a home.
Free spirit.
Literally.
He said, I ain't saying much, but I'm saying something.
Yeah, but I just want to try to understand. So, and it literally, like, having resources allow for me not have shelter.
That's good.
Because people don't understand the difference. You can be homeless but have shelter. You don't have a place to call your own, you're homeless. So I had shelter, but I didn't have a home. So being out there for that, and I was even talking to my daughter because I let them be known. And this was the first time, not the first time in my life, but it wasn't a money weight.
That's good.
And